Head of Student Services for Bloom Education, and Susie Hache, who's the lead counsellor for GEMS Education. We host this forum every fortnight to bring inclusion practitioners and wellbeing practitioners together to support each other, share practice, and to generally just share enthusiasm and get some discussion going around what's working really well and equally what's not working so well, so that we can support each other with ideas, tips and tools to hopefully improve practice and ultimately improve student outcomes. Nobody is the final say on the forum. We're all in it together. So if anybody has anything to add, or you want to tell us about something that has been working really well in your setting, please do so. Let us know. Feel free to contribute throughout. Susie and I will monitor the chat. So if you have any questions, please pop them in there and we can address them at the end of the session. We are not affiliated in any way with any sponsors or any paid parties. It's all voluntary, everything is free. We simply share what works well. So if you have somebody or something, an app, a tool that works well in your setting, we're happy to share that also. Okay, and I shall hand over to you, Susie. You can make your introductions and I'll stop sharing and open up for yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Ooh la la, where am I gone? Here. Okay, so today, the session on counseling, I thought about sharing something that I found very useful, which is the Upstrive app. We have been lucky to try that, and I don't know how I've been doing without it actually. So I think that from the past 4 or 5 weeks that I've been exposed to, as a counselor, it has really changed my intervention and also given me opportunity to support those that I couldn't see. So thanks to Sven, who's developed this with the help of Linda. Linda is the writer of the book Press Play, which I hope that we have some time to speak about later. And that goes very well hand in hand. So I hopefully later on we can speak about this. This app, which is for well-being, is also for counseling. You can do so many things. And I'll leave the floor to Sven to explain you what all it can do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kate. Yes, I can share the screen. Let me just put on my presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, Kate and Susie, thank you so much for inviting us today to speak about Upstrive. It's an amazing honor to be selected in such an independent group. And what you just said, Kate, providing value to the people on the call here is really what our work is all about. And it's, yeah, we feel extremely honored to be able to speak to you about what Upstrive can do for you and everybody on the call here. We have tremendous respect for the work you all do on a day-to-day basis, and to support you with that is really what drives us. When I started this project, and I still remember the meeting in the coffee shop with Linda at the time, we said if we can only change one life of a suffering student with this, it would be all worth it. And seeing how this has come to life has been amazing over the last couple of months. We launched this in early Q4 of last year, and the feedback we're getting is amazing. And to see the results is really extremely motivating for us. So what does Upstrive do? Sometimes we still struggle to put it in one sentence, how Upstrive helps you with your challenges, because it's so versatile and customizable. But at the same time, that's also the beauty of the system. It can be customized to your schools, to your challenges, to what you need. And today we just want to show you how this all works. I'm going to go through a couple of slides, but then we'll show you really the app and the system in action, so you can see firsthand how this would work on a day-to-day basis. If we have some time later, I'll actually share one of the first mock-ups Linda and I did. I think it was 2.5 years ago in a coffee shop, and it has evolved tremendously since then. My name is Sven Maikrans. I'm the CEO of Upstrive, and Mike Motions, who's eventually the owner of all this. I actually come from a corporate background, but always had a passion for coaching. And in the last couple of years, I've really made this I turned my passion into my profession. I founded the company, and we developed a couple of products. And yeah, my life now is all about making a difference to young people, and Upstrive is one of the tools. I have the honor to work with two and many more tremendous people. Two of them are here today, Audrey and Linda. Audrey and Linda both bring amazing talents to what we're doing and amazing dedication. And yeah, we're a great team. We work together, and they both of them will have a voice today as well. So in the beginning, when we developed Upstrive, we had all kinds of great ideas, but you know, at the end of the day, it's about what the users think and what the users see as challenges and how this can solve it. So I collected a couple of things that some of the things that you gave us, and these are the challenges that we find today from you in your positions. It's all about really finding the people that suffer, the students that suffer, and sometimes it's really just a matter of hours. It's also around finding out what works and what doesn't, to take out a lot of discussion and subjectivity. And at the end of the day, it's about really finding things quick enough so you can intervene, but also long-term understand what trends there are, so you can demonstrate it to the stakeholders what works and what doesn't. Right? And engaging students at the end of the day is part of it as well. So all of these together, I'll show you how Upstrive impacts these. You are the experts. I don't need to explain this. There's a lot of things we don't see, and it's all about helping you to really find out what's under the surface and finding it quick enough. When we developed this, this was way before COVID, when all our work started, and it's been an interesting coincidence when we launched this, because this obviously fits right into today's most critical problems. And here are just a couple of the studies that are out today. Again, you guys are right at the heart of this, and you know exactly what the impact is. We see much more severe results today. This is not just about engagement. This is about serious issues, and we also want to help with that. But it's not just about students. A lot of the staff in companies, in organizations, in schools, they're suffering as well. So we built this tool not just for students. This is also applicable for staff. We had a lot of the leaders in schools ask us about how this can be used for staff as well. So in a nutshell, the problem is really that it's not easy at all to find out what's really going on in the teams, in the students, at certain times, or the entire school. And then even if you find out, how do you measure it? How do you manage it long term, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time, and you can do more of what works and less of what doesn't. So there are systems. We all know there are systems. On the right, you see a circle, and most of you are probably familiar with. Yeah, people collect data, they analyze them, they take action and results. But normally, the way these systems work, they're very much on a trend basis. They're long cycles. Sometimes it's just once a year. They have specific focuses, and what they really struggle with is what we call the real-time factor. They don't capture the today. They don't capture the cases where a student needs help today. And they don't capture the cases where it takes interventions for a period of time and then see, is it working, yes or no? So there's a lot of firefighting involved. And when I spoke to Susie a lot when she started using Upstrive, that was one of the main things she said. This helps me now to be more effective, to find out where I really need to be and set the priorities. I want to hand over to Linda. She's much more experienced with me in schoolwork as well. She has a few things she would like to add. Linda, from your experience, please add to what we have here on the slide.
Thanks so much, Sven. And morning, everyone, or afternoon, sorry, I'm in New York. It's very international, I love it. It's a project that is so close to my heart for so many reasons, and I'll try and be as concise as I can about this, because when it comes to student well-being and mental health in particular, I'm a huge advocate, and I just want to talk and listen to it for absolutely hours. The key thing about Upstrive is exactly what Sven has said. It's about finding our silent students. It's not about ignoring the students who are already talking. It's definitely about supporting them. But we know, I mean, I was a teacher for 15 years and I worked in schools all around the world. And the one thing that we notice is that schools are such busy places. People's time is so precious. And we would love, as teachers, as counselors, as educators, we'd love to have that time every single day to check in with every single student. And it's just not possible. It's just not realistic. And one of the beautiful things about Upstrive is it helps us find those silent students. It helps us find the students who are kind of sitting under the radar. We all know those students who will come and talk to us and say, you know, sir, miss, this is what's going on. This is the challenge that I'm facing. And that's brilliant. And we help and support those students as best as we can. We really need to find those students who don't have that voice, who are struggling themselves to say, this is what I'm struggling with. And now it's even more important than ever, because we're not seeing our students. We're not seeing our young people face to face in the way that we used to. We're not seeing them every day. And again, when you see your students every day, when you see people every day, you notice changes in them so much quicker. So the other thing then about Upstrive is it gives young people that place to express themselves. Young people are struggling and they're often not voicing what they're experiencing right now, because they think that other people are worse off than them. Well, I'm feeling down, but I won't speak to my coach, I won't speak to my counselor, my friends, my parents, because I know that they're going through something worse. So it's really about giving them a voice as well and saying, you know what, all of this is okay. Anything that you're experiencing, it's okay, but we're here to help and support you. And I think it's such a fantastic tool. We all know the benefits, the science behind getting something out of your head as well, behind talking about something and finding that solution. And it's so important. The well-being aspect of it, the mental health aspect, giving our students the tools, the tips, the techniques that they need. It's not about taking anything away from the incredible work that you're doing as counsellors. It's very much supporting them. I've been in those schools, and I hear it from my husband's a teacher here in Manhattan. School counsellors are absolutely inundated. And so it's being able to find those students and support them as best as we can, as teachers, as educators in general, no matter what your job is, to observe and support, to give them that voice that they need.
Thank you, Linda. That's really the work. That's what our work is all about. So what we've done with Upstrive is we've turned what you see on the left, which is a long time circle plus additional tools into it. We turned this into an easy to use tool where you get real-time data and you get it customized in whatever way you want to turn these data. And I'll show you live how this works, because this sounds obviously very theoretical. You get immediate feedback. You find the people you want to find. And one of the things we're getting from the students is that the feedback we're getting is they now feel they have a safe space where they can express themselves without actually having to talk to somebody directly. It's made much easier for them to connect. And then we also added, we didn't want to just leave the likes of yourself in your positions with data. We also wanted to give you some tools that makes your life easier. So we added tools to it. We added programs and templates, which are very, very easy to apply. And Linda has done an unbelievable job with her team, and you'll see that in a second. I want to give you an example, a quick example, and we'll walk through this in the app as well. What we mean by real-time intervention. So here's a screen that the students see in the morning. Every morning they get a simple, how are you today? They click on an emoji, and let's assume there's a student that is sad. And now look, there's different reasons for being sad. Sometimes it's something fairly easy to solve. We had a case where somebody lost a phone. Yes, they're sad, but it may not need an intervention at that point. But then you have cases where you really want to get on this quickly. So we added, once they click on the emotion, they get the chance to comment. And we're actually blown away by how many students here share what the reasons are for their emotion, positive and negative. And they do that in a way when you can assume if somebody puts in a comment here why they sad, they want to be listened to. And this is really, in a silent way, they're screaming out for help. And this is a case here, this is actually a real case, and we've changed the wording a bit. But you see here, this is obviously quite serious. I don't know if you can read it. Nobody cares about me. Now I know after testing it with an experiment. The teacher will see this. The teacher will see a snapshot here of the entire class or year group. We've taken the names out here. But then the teacher can click, if you want to filter down to the negative emotions, for example, you can click on this graph, and now you will only see the 2 students here that have clicked on the sad. Now you can click on the details and check is it something serious, and then you can decide, do I need to take action quickly, yes or no? So if you take quick action, sometimes it's really just about, hey, what's going on? Is there any way I can help you? It's a very quick intervention, and they don't need a lot of attention potentially. Sometimes they just need somebody to listen to, and you can find this out within seconds, and you can take action right away. But we're adding something here as well. We're creating a safe place, and we're encouraging reflection. So when the student has put in that they are sad, we don't want to leave them in that emotion, because all we've done is confirm that they're sad. So now we're giving them a place, and this is a personal space. Nobody can see this, just themselves. They can reflect on how they feel compared to last time. And then we're moving them from a problem-focused state to a solution state. So they get a place here where they can think about what they can do potentially to change it. And we're encouraging them here with, these are more than 100 suggestions down here, what could potentially be a way of what they could do right now. And you probably all know from a psychology point of view that now we have already changed their thought state, right? Now it's on a solution. And they may have already been away from the sad. And at the end of the day, we give them a quick journaling type reflection page where they can reflect on 3 good things that happened today, some things that are challenging, and something they would like to change for tomorrow. So again, we don't want to just measure or ask them to express their emotion. We've now put them on a path of proactively changing into something positive. And we're getting really, really positive feedback on this. So again, that's our opinion, but we asked the students, and we have now a couple of hundred feedbacks from students here. And what we're getting here is quite amazing. We asked them directly, how do you think Upstrive will impact your well-being? And there's almost 90% positive response. We get high engagement from the students. If the teachers encourage them, that's a really important part. And then on the right here, you see a couple of comments out of the, I don't know, it's like 350 comments, just some things they say. And you see some of the depth here. When we asked them, this was not just about, yeah, we like it, yeah, it's pretty cool. There were some really deep comments on how this could impact their well-being, how it could help them develop confidence, how it's a safe space, how to connect with their teachers, and then here showing how you can prevent from getting depression or anxiety. Just having these words coming out of a student's mouth, it's mind-boggling for me. But that they express this, that Upstrive can help them with this, it's amazing, and we want to get this to as many students as possible. So at the end of the day, we want to do three things. We don't want to just look at the students here, right? This is also about classroom and making the teachers more effective and helping them to do their jobs in a more effective way. But also at the end of the day, for the leaders of your schools and your organizations, they also need to see how does that impact our organization, and we're also building in tools so you can see how it's helping the business. We have a system. It's not just an app. The app collects the data, but there's a desktop system where you see all the analytics. And then we have built, I say we, Linda and her team has built some amazing templates here that you can pretty much plug and play. It's literally just a push of the button on a specific topic. You can select polls, you can select questions and feed, and this goes straight out to the target group. So within a couple of clicks, you can impact or you can reach out to students, classes, or the entire school. So with this, let me move to the app. I'll show you how it works in action. 1 second, I need to switch over to the app. Okay.
So if anybody has any questions, guys, please do put them into the chat and we can address them. So far, none. So you must be very concise in your delivery, which is good. But please do, guys, ask. I mean, we've got the experts here, so let's utilize them. Hey.
Okay. So I'll show you the app now. If you see my screen, my phone. So when you open the app, hang on, actually, let me log in. Let me log in as a teacher first. So I'll show you the teacher version first, what you see as an admin or a teacher. So we have, there are three key elements here. One is a feed. The feed is something where you share relevant content. And it's not something like Facebook where everybody posts everything. This is pretty much a one-way direction. You decide what is relevant and who you share it with. So this could be certain topic-related things. It could be links, interesting links, or even results from the school. It doesn't matter. You pick and choose what you think is valuable for the receiving group. Then we have a dashboard. In the dashboard, you see all ongoing polls and questions. So everything that has been asked to the students, you will find here. You can click here on results. You will see details of it. You see the responses. You see how many students have responded, and you see what class this has been posted to. So every detail here you can see within those within the dashboard here. And once you stop a poll, it will be in the archive. So everything is saved here. You can always go back and see and look at results here. Then as a teacher, you actually get the same question. Yeah, you get the question in the morning, how do you feel? Right? This is just as important as it is for students. And you also get the question, how was your day? So here is the what I showed you on the slides earlier. What are 3 good things that happened today? And you can save this. I'll show you this in the student version in a bit more detail. And then this is what I showed you earlier. This has really become a critical element of the app, and the feedback is amazing. As a teacher, as a counselor, as a staff, you see an immediate color-coded map here of your entire class or all the classes you have access to. So you see here that these are the different emotions. And when I click on, let me click on sad here, now I can filter the two students that have expressed sadness here. There's a comment here, my mother is sick. So just going to the students and saying, look, hey, I saw that your mother doesn't feel well. Is there any way I can help you? Will already make a difference. And you can go to stressed. Linda is obviously not very happy. So my friend betrayed me. Okay, we need to talk, Linda. But this is a demo version, so you can see here, and we track this over time as well, so you can see trends. Now to create content, you click on the plus down here, and you can do that from your phone. And you can ask a question, which is an open question. How do you like Upstrive? So then the students respond with a text with their own message here. Sorry, in the answer. You can make it anonymous if you feel there's sensitive content. You can make it required, so the students get a reminder. You can select any year group, any class. You can select individual students, individual groups. You can send this to staff as well. Any group, any size, any year, you can select here. You can schedule it. So if you don't want to post it today, you can schedule it for another day, and then you click on post, and that's it. It will now actually show up in the dashboard. I'm sorry, I need to scroll up. I need to go to the live version here. Now you see it shows up in the live dashboard here, and you can see what results are coming in. So I don't know, Audrey and Linda, if you can respond, we can show some of the real time here. You can create polls. We have templates here, and we have tons of template in the desktop version, which I'll show you in a second. But we can also create new polls. How are you today? And you see this takes seconds. You just put in options here. Gonna be bad. I'm just making this quick here. And then you can again make it anonymous or do the same thing here. You post it and it will show up in the archive. You see here, it's right away in the dashboard. And then down here, you can create a post where you put all the content here. You can add a URL link or a photo, and it shows up in the feed. So let's go to the student version for a second. So now we'll look at what the students see. When you log in, it will automatically detect if you're a student or staff. You see the same feed here, whatever has been posted to that student. But then down here, you click on the tasks, and you see here now this the same selection shows up. And let's go through this, what I showed you earlier in the presentation. I click on sad. I had a fight with my friend. And you can now share it. Now this is what the teacher will see, but now it goes into the reflection space. Yeah, so last time I was happy, now something changed. I actually feel worse today. And now I get into this space. Do you think things are worse for any particular reason or any reason in particular? And then you can go into the change of the state here. You can either come up with your own idea, talk to my teacher, or you can pick some of these suggestions down here. They are randomly selected, so you can go through. There's more than 100 here. Do something nice for someone else. Be like a tree, stand tall, and you see this will be transferred here into the section. And then if you feel there's value in this, or the student feels there's value in this, they can now save this. And they can pick a name. I don't know, happy. They can save it, and then they go into their personal space and they can find this later in case they want to remember what they did on that day. They can go to this and they get the notes they've taken here. So this is a bit of a journal function which they can take. And Linda, I think you mentioned this earlier, writing it down already is a big part of the solution. So then they go into,
so important, yeah.
How was your day? Again, same thing. They can save it here as a note if they want to. And they get all their questions here, and you can see within seconds, they click on the option here, and you see that this is the one I just posted, right? How are you today? I'm good. Submit. Done. So it takes them seconds, and this is a really important element of the feedback and engagement for the students, because it needs to be easy and they need to like it. So the user interface is so important for them that it's nice to use and it's engaging them. Now up here they have a controlled chat. They can pick a message to the teacher, the counselor, or an emergency button here, which is an SOS. You as a school decide who this goes to. And as soon as they post it, they get an active message here that somebody will reach out to them. And so the counselor or whoever is behind the chat will now get a message and engage in a direct conversation here. They cannot, the students, there's no chat within the students. And this is also something that the students are telling us. They feel so safe here because there's no place for negative comments or for bullying or anything, any comments that are within the peer group. They don't see what the other students are posting. They don't see what the other students are saying. So they feel extremely safe here in sharing their thoughts. Okay, that was the student part, and now let me share the actual heart and the learning part of it. I'm going to the desktop version now. So you as a teacher or a counselor, you log in with the same credentials, and you're taken to this website. So on this website, you can do exactly the same thing as you can do on the phone. You can create a poll. You can ask a question, you can add content to the feed in case you prefer to work on the computer. And then we have the programs down here. So you don't have much time to create these and always think about what's a good question to ask. So we've prepared these programs here. They're between 10 and 30 days. You simply go into the program. You click on day one. You select this poll, you select your target group, either all of your students or specific classes. You post it, and that's it. Literally takes you less than 10 seconds. Then there's an open question. Every day you get a poll, an open question, or a feed that is around this topic. So everything is prepared here. Linda has put a lot of work into this. Sometimes there's a video in this. Again, all you need to do is you click on post, that's it. You can prepare the entire program. You can schedule this. So you can turn on a certain day. We want to schedule this tomorrow. I don't know, 7 o'clock, 6:35, post, done. Tomorrow morning, this will be posted at 7:30. So we're actually adding a button here in the next couple of days where you can run this entire program with one button.
Sven, can I jump in for a second?
Yes, please. You're the creator. You deserve all the
Anytime you see a video link, trust us that it is being checked. It is being checked. We have watched it. It is absolutely fine. You won't find anything dodgy in there. We put a little teacher note also anytime there's a video link. So you'll know exactly how long the video is and maybe it's more suitable for an older age group, like for, I don't know, sixth formers compared to year 7. It doesn't mean that there's anything sensitive in there at all. It just might mean that there's older students talking in the video compared to younger students. So we've done all that for you as well.
Yeah, this is an amazing tool, and it's not about a course, right? This is not about putting students through a long training. This is really about daily nudges and give them some inspiration on thinking and thinking about certain things. And you don't have to pick all of them. Yeah, you can pick and choose relevant content whenever you feel it's the right time and the right place. We've also created a history here, so you can see if this has been posted before, so there's no duplication. So all this is pretty much controlled. And then we have, you can manage your classes here, there's some administration in here. You can also see the same map that you saw earlier here on the desktop, in case you prefer the desktop. You see here the comments, the person, so you can intervene very quickly. You can see who was in a negative state and who's positive. And then we can analyze this over time. So it's not always about just daily things. We also want to see trends. We want to recognize trends. Is something working? Is an intervention working? Is a certain approach working? So when you track things over a period of time, let's say, how stressed do you feel about the exams? You can now see all the data here over any period you select. This can be a year, a month, whatever it is. And you can see, hey, stress level is going up. Let's do something about it. And you start an initiative. And then you can see, is it working? Yes or no? And this tool is amazing because you can show it to the leaders of the organization. You can show it to parents. You can say, look, we have recognized within a week that levels of stress or motivation were going in the wrong direction, and we have intervened. And you want to drill down into detail, you can now do that. You can say, look, yeah, this is nice, this is the entire school, but let me see how year 7 is doing, or year 2 is doing. And you click on a specific class, and you can see the data of that class. Yeah, sometimes the issues are not across an entire year or entire class, or even the individuals you can pick out. So you can really drill down into the smallest detail here, and then you can design your interventions and your initiatives so it addresses exactly at the right place at the right time. And that's where, I mean, the value of this is not just internal for the students, it's also external. You can demonstrate when you sit in a room with people discussing what's the right thing to do. You pull this out and you say, look, we know what's the right thing to do. We've tested it, we've done it, and we've seen the results, and we can do it again. And if it doesn't work, we'll find out very quickly if it works or not. That's the beauty here, that it gives you really a tool to see at any point in time where you are. You can test things. You don't have to know everything, what's working, what isn't, but you can see if it is. So that's in a nutshell what Upstrive can do. I know it was a lot. I hope I didn't rush too much, but I hope you can see my excitement. Every time I present, I get excited about it. And you know, when we had the first trial, and I mean, that was a big moment for us when we saw the students, when we asked the students, what do you think about Upstrive? And when we saw some of these comments, it was just amazing for us to see, yes, we're helping to change lives through you, with you, and supporting you. And that keeps us going. And it's gonna, we want this to be in as many students' hands as possible. And with this, I would like to open the stage. Please, any question you have, any challenges you have?
Can I, yes, Sven, just before you go for the questions, I just wanted to say that, as you said, it is really a very safe place for the students to chat. It took time, of course, we just started, but it was really nice because I had a student today who really broke down and he had to say something very personal. and he didn't want to go on Zoom or anything so that nobody could hear him or on whatever, and he chose this platform to speak. And it was really a question of safeguarding, a very huge question. It felt so safe to use this to describe, and he just said that by reading all the messages that we post, he felt that it could be something that he could talk with a counselor. He would have never been in the past to a counselor, but he felt that with all these messages that we are posting, that we are more caring. He never thought that we are caring. Teachers are always there, you know, to reprimand or to guide or to finish their syllabus and things like that. But they have really seen a different side of the teachers, and I think that was positive. Another thing is that with the COVID, what has happened, especially now teenagers, especially students who are sitting for the board exam, there is a lot of anxiety, stress, and depression, and some of them having suicide ideation. And they were really feeling supported through this, because now I have a chat, a personal chat with that child. And it's really nice because it's just the two of us. She's able to write whatever she wants. I can find something to give her, to be, you know, to give her what she needs, food for thought, or and connecting that way. So it's really been very helpful. And I don't think that I would have known about them because we are a huge school. I'm at the other end of the school, but through this and checking these messages and all, and I know that Sven is looking on something because we have been quite mean to him and asking him a lot of questions, and he has been tweaking his app a lot for us. One of the things that is a notification. As one of the questions that Louise had is, how would you know? How would you know if there is a message for me? So it's work in progress. And the rest of the question I'm leaving it for you, Sven, to answer.
It's coming tomorrow, probably. You know, every time you talk about these cases, Susie, or we hear about cases, I don't know. It's the severity of some of the things that you share is something that is, I mean, for us, it's also new. And I mean, you guys are the professionals, you're right at the front, but having the ability to find these cases, and even if it's one, it's just amazing. And any way we can help you guys in your work, let us know. We'll find a way.
So Louise had some questions. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, thank you. It's really interesting because since October, I've been very conscious of those pupils that we've not seen and the pupils that have remained on distance learning. And we've been very reliant on pupils reaching out. So we had our vulnerable pupils and we had our pupils that were confident enough to email, but it was the ones that we just couldn't see. So I did start to look into different applications. The one about the alerts is quite an interesting one because I had looked at a company from Estonia, Planbeat, but their alerts came through too much. And it meant that teachers just didn't have a break and they felt this pressure. So I think there is this fine balance between when the alert comes through, is the alert only in term time, what your school policy will allow you, and the pressure on the teacher. And that's why I sort of asked that question about, would management, is there somebody in management that can take the burden of that? So I suppose, let's start with that question of, can management sort of oversee all of the classes or some of the classes, and the alert notifications, how frequent?
Yeah, so there's a hierarchy built into the system. So you as a school or an organization, you decide who sees what, right? This is 100% your decision. So let's say, for example, a counselor normally has access to the entire school. And within the app, then the counselor can filter, right? So they don't get overwhelmed with hundreds and potentially thousands of pictures. They filter down to class, to team, to year. And then the notification is also something we're very much aware of. We don't want to inundate people to the point where they go, this is too much. We want to give them the relevant information so they can take relevant action. That's something where we're very conscious of. We're building in the students' notification now, so the students get a notification. But on the alert side, We just really, if there's an SOS or an important message, that's where we want to get the flag out and say, look, now, right? And it's also partially creating accountability. So let's say some schools say, look, we want to know if there's a student that has been sad for 5 days in a row. Can you notify us? Not every day, but give me a notification when there's a certain parameter met. Yeah, so we really find the ones that it's important to find and not get inundated with data. So we want to give you information, not data.
Yeah,
that's a really important part of it.
Okay.
And also, Louise, you know, the other thing was nice on this. I'm talking as a counselor because Sven is the creator, but you know, it's how we are using it. I think what was very nice, it's not to feel overwhelmed. And there's always these SOS people who can work with you. But of course, you would choose these people to be proactive. So it can't be, in my school, I didn't want the principal to be, because I know how busy he is. So I chose people that I'm sure would be on board with me and the same level of thoughts, you know, availability, being proactive, understanding the students, not being judgmental, being able to handle cases like heavy cases like what we are having now. And not to be, oh, what about me? No things like that. So it will be your call to choose who you wish to have.
Yeah. Okay. So we recognize, and not only recognize, we want to be in the background supporting you, not telling you what to do, right? And being able, the key here is giving you relevant information, not throw data at you. Yeah, you have enough data to deal with. We want to help you to filter out so you can prioritize. And that one case, that one student on this particular day may be the only thing you do, but it's the most, it's the thing to do, right? Yeah. And that's where we want to help you.
And there was one other question, and then obviously it might be that I just come back to you separately at another time, but one other question that came to mind. We obviously at the moment, we use Google Classroom, and each tutor has their Google Classroom, and they post their messages and their threads and streams. What I found quite useful with distance learning, to get the same message out to all the classrooms, is that, and if it's important information, I have access, because that's sometimes what we notice, is that what one teacher does and sees as the priority, the other doesn't. And when you've got 32 different class teachers, how can you quality assure and check that the information's going out? So can one person post on every classroom, or is it bespoke just to that teacher to build that relationship?
No, again, you as a school decide exactly who can do what, as simple as that. And the hierarchy is set in a way that a person above can actually see and also influence any posts. So if you as a counselor see that a teacher has posted something potentially, I don't know, inappropriate, or that you have maybe a better content, you can intervene and you can take it off, or you can change it, or you can talk to the teacher, anything. So it's very much a hierarchy. Any person above can see anything below.
Good, yeah, because that really does help when you can be that one central person, quality assure, and actually act as the role model to add support and guide. And then hopefully the teacher then takes a little bit of ownership and gets on board and sees the value of it. Okay, no, that's really interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Louise, that was the main point actually also, that teachers to take accountability, not to count only on the counselors or SLT or pastoral care, but just to make the teachers more aware that even in higher, in secondary school, the learning manager or the heads of years, well, they have their role to play too. And it's just make that connection. You also wanted to ask, Sven, that was another question. Is it going to be only in English, or you're planning to translate?
We are starting to translate, of course. So we have looked at 2 versions right now. One is Arabic, one is German. So the base version is quite straightforward to translate. Translating all the content from Linda is a different story. So this is where it gets a bit tricky on the posts, like the things that are, because some of the links are obviously in English. So that's something we're currently looking at, how we can manage that. But we're very much looking at an Arabic version. Yes.
Yeah, I think what I did like was the way that it was doing the predictive. I think that is a help, and obviously the visual. And even if you can supply the questions in English to a school, they can do some of their own translation anyway to help their EAL learners.
Yeah.
The other question you had, Louise, was also about safeguarding.
Yes, and I think it's been answered in the fact that the management you can oversee.
Yes.
So it doesn't leave the vulnerability of the teacher and the class on their own. So
yeah.
As long as that's covered, that's fine. You're not leaving anybody vulnerable.
Can I interject here, Sven?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to add there, as part of the safeguarding side of things, that none of the chats between students and teachers are deleted. They're kept. So this is a very important feature. No one can delete it from any side. So if it ever is needed in the future, then you have that data. So that's very important.
And can I ask, where is that stored? In what country is your main storage? Where are your servers?
In Europe, we're working with Amazon Web Services in Europe.
So you're under GDPR?
Yes, we
and
have.
Would that be applicable wherever the app is in use, or is that only applicable, or is that waived when you get to a certain country? Because GDPR don't apply here. Well, they do in good practice.
It does through DIFC, right? The new laws that came in place through DIFC are an application of the GDPR laws.
Yeah,
okay,
so it actually.
We've just been through a very rigorous audit on data security and data protection. It was a wonderful and painful experience. I mean, I had no idea. I only understand 5% of what was in there, but it was amazing to see the outcome. We are, I can sleep at night now, let me put it that way. After this audit, it was great to see this data security is so important, especially with the data we're dealing with here. So we're doing two things. One is we're hosting this in Europe on AWS, but the data that the students put on the phone, the personal data, they are encrypted on the phone. So we cannot see, nobody can see what the students put into their personal space. So this shows up at, they call this data spaghetti. Like it's saved on the server, but it shows up as random signs. So this is encrypted when it leaves the phone of the student.
So how many students have you got accessing the app at the moment?
We're around, it's around between access and trial, it's about 10,000.
So can you use that, not the content, but the analytics of the data to inform practice, say countrywide? If you've got 7,000 students in the UAE, that could be really valuable information for, say, government leaders or policy drivers.
Yeah, as long as, I mean, so far it's been amazing, like people like Susie, and if they agree to share the data, we would very much encourage the schools actually to take this initiative. But theoretically, well, the data are owned by the schools, right? So it's a decision of the school. These are obviously sensitive data, but if the trends are shared, I think that would be tremendous value. I can't wait for a year down the road to share what's working and what isn't, just experiences from schools, because we don't have to share data from specific data from schools, but
the trends would be a huge value for educators, for policymakers, like to know.
Especially also for mental health also, Catherine, because, you know, for just to analyze what the age group, what are they feeling, what's going on, what's the main issue, because I was just saying there just today in my head office that there is no place in a hospital for a teenager to go to. Finish. So, you know, such an analysis would already be very helpful to know, okay, what are the age group, what is it, and then act on and support more in school, you know, things like this. Yeah,
it's really valuable. Go on, one last question, Louisa, go for it. And welcome, Louise. We have one of our usual co-hosts with us today. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you.
My one last question. It was the use of different languages. So obviously, if you've got year 2 class, is going to need a different language because their understanding of language is different. So when we've looked at Fusion was a visual learning platform we looked at school. They had 2 different interfaces, one that suited primary school and one that suited senior school. So maybe streamlining and simplifying something for juniors, yes, and then a different one for seniors.
Yeah, thank you for that. We currently we feel like it's applicable down to roughly 3rd grade when you can use a phone and read properly. And we already had this request before to create an interface for the younger kids. My IT manager is gonna kill me, but because I have more ideas than he can keep up with. But look, we're not gonna stop, right? We're listening to you guys. It doesn't matter what I think. And everything you tell us is where the value sits. And we're gonna, if we feel there's common value to it, we'll implement it. Yeah, this is gonna be a long time in development.
Yeah, I think it is a long-term project.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's just about time now. We will share, again, we've already shared the website, but we can share your email or whichever email you want us to use for your contacts, Sven, on the group email. And so much for presenting. It's been really interesting. It's a really valuable app. And like, Susie, do you want to finish up?
I'd say I can't live without it. A morning I wake up, night I go to sleep, and I just keep on checking. It's been so, it's what Louise said, is those who are very vulnerable, but who we miss, who are passing through the net. And this app is really catching them. And for us, as when you're an only counselor in such a big school, you can't go without it, really. So if you have to invest into something for counseling, go for it.